Hey, this is Professor Homo. Welcome to part 3 of running pace, and we're just doing some troubleshooting right now because we did get a minutes per mile value of 8.064516 and so on. So we want to round the minutes down, and then we actually want to get the seconds, which could be a value like this, and actually round that to an integer, and then actually make sure it gets converted to seconds. So we're going to have to multiply that by 60. So we have a little bit of math to do here. And what we're going to do is we're going to create two more variables. Just two more to do here. And we're going to call one var equals minutes pace. And I'll create another one called var equals seconds pace. So we're kind of breaking this down so that we don't just have a pace, which is going to be like 8.3 or something, so that we can actually, we're going to have two values in here instead of just pace. So we're going to have to break pace down into minutes and seconds, just like we originally had minutes and seconds. Now we're going to break it down to minutes and seconds again. Is minutes pace, what we're going to do is basically do something called math.floor. Math.floor basically rounds down. Seal rounds up, floor rounds down to the nearest integer. So if it's 8.1, it'll round down to 8. Round will do it based on, if it's 5, it'll round up. If it's less than 5, it'll round down. So there's floor, ceiling, or seal, and round. So we're going to do floor so it rounds down. So we're going to take the minutes and round them down. So what we're going to be rounding down is pace. Because right now the pace, if it's 8 point whatever it is, we're going to round it down. So that's going to give us our minutes. So that would give us, in this case, that would round that down to 8. But now we have to take the seconds. So to do that, we're going to have to do, we're also going to have to round something down. Okay, and to get this value, you might say, how are we going to get the seconds? What we're going to do is we're actually going to subtract, now that we have 8, we're going to take our pace, which is 8.06, and we're going to subtract our minutes pace. So we're going to take pace minus this, and this will give us this value so that we can basically multiply it by 60. Okay, so seconds pace is basically going to be pace minus, so pace is the 8.06, that's going to be minus minutes pace, and then we're going to take whatever that is and we're going to multiply it by 60. Now what we're going to have to do for this whole thing here, and I'm putting this whole thing in parentheses, is we're going to do a math round, and we're just going to round it to whichever one it goes to. This one doesn't round down, it's going to round up. If it's over 0.5, it's going to round down. So this will round it to an integer, so it's not really using a decimal. So if it's, we're going to round it to a regular number is what it needs to be. So we're going to do math.round, and this should work, I believe. I don't know if we need two of these. I think we could still do this if we need to. I think that'll still work. That'll still do the math. It'll just do the parentheses first. Pace minus, so that would be 8.06. It would take that number and then multiply it by 60, and it should give us seconds. So what we should be able to do here is take this out where your pace is, and we're going to put minutes pace. I'll put minutes pace in here. So there's minutes pace, and then we're going to add that, and we're going to put like a colon in there. Then that'll kind of end the string there. So it's going to say your pace is, it should be like 8, and then whatever that is, whatever the seconds is at 0.06 or whatever per mile. So let's save that and see what happens with this. And I'm just going to use the same amount, 3.1 and 25, just so I know what's happening here. So I'll refresh it. I'll put in 3.1 and I'll put in 25. I don't get pace, and I'm not getting anything. Okay, and I checked this out here, and I have two errors. Unexpected token, and I'm going to see where that is, and it doesn't like this. Minutes pace equals math floor, so there's something wrong with that. And can you see what I did wrong? I have an extra equal sign in here, screwing everything up. There. Now it should be okay. Let me save this. I'll go back. And I'll try it one more time. I'll refresh it. I'll put in 3.1. I'll put in 25. I'll put in 0, 0. And I'll get pace. And there we go. We have 8 minutes, 4 seconds. That's a problem because that's actually 4 seconds. But we don't want it to say 4 seconds because it just looks odd. It should be 04 because when we say seconds, it's usually in 2 digits. So we just have to fix that 2-digit thing, and that actually isn't that hard to do. What we'll do here for the seconds pace, because we already have that, we're just going to redefine this, and we're going to just put another if here. I'm going to put if, and we're going to do seconds pace. And we're going to say if seconds pace is less than 10, because that's the issue here. That if it's less than 10, it's only showing 1 digit. So we're going to say if it's less than 10, and we don't even have to put an else here. We'll just put if it's less than 10, we're just going to do seconds pace equals, and we're going to put a string. We'll use a string for this. We'll just put a 0 in front of it, and then we'll do plus seconds pace. And that should fix that. So if our seconds pace is less than 10, it's just going to kind of append a 0 right in front of it. So let's see how this works. I'll save it, and I'll refresh this, and I'll put in 3.1, and I think I was doing 25 here. And I'll get my pace, and 8:04. That's about right. And you could try other things to see how it works. 2, and if you put in 14, there's 7 minutes. And you could try this too. What if you put in 2? What if you put in 14, and you don't put in seconds? We got a problem because we have no value here. We'd have to do another if-else for seconds, and it may not be bad to do that. They're probably going to put minutes in, but it's possible if you did it in 25 minutes, you may not put seconds in there. Or what if you just put a 0? What if you put 1 0 in there? Would that work? And that works. So it's okay with 1 0, but it doesn't like it blank. So you could put another if-else to actually, make sure that the value, and you could copy that if-else that you have for this. If the value, so you could use that same thing if you need to, if that becomes a problem, or if you think that will be a problem. But otherwise, I think we're okay with this. I think this thing is working. And we have 2 if-else. The one if-else is so that if it's blank, and like I said, you could do that for seconds. This one is basically if the seconds pace, when we're breaking down the seconds again, is less than 10, we're just going to append a 0 to it in the beginning, and that'll be a string, but we just want it to display. And certainly you could do more with this, but this is kind of a good start, and we'll see how you do with that.